What is going on, ICBA fans? My name is Frosty, aka the Alpha Like a Rock, and welcome to our Week 5 battle for the ICBA. Now, the last 2 weeks have not been very great to us, so I'm hoping to start pushing in the right direction this time, because the last 2 weeks we took some pretty big losses, a 4-0 and a 5-0 loss. Last week, like I said, I just chalked up to bad execution, just bad play. And so I definitely deserve that loss, but the one that really stings is the one with Merc. I really felt I had a good chance of winning that battle, but it is what it is. We are 2-2 at -1. We're 2-2 -1? We're 2-2 -1? No, 2-2 -4. So we're 2-2 -4, which still puts us right around second and third in our conference. I believe with that loss that we took last week, that actually puts us in third place, but we still have a good shot of making playoffs if we play well and we win some good battles over the next 3-4 weeks. So we have a little bit of a lighter schedule. The matchups aren't as tedious or as bad as they were the last couple of weeks, so they're a little bit more manageable. Plus, as you guys saw in the last video, we made huge changes to the team, and now this week we get to test out the new team that we have against the man we actually traded with, and that would be Tone and his Maine Red Clawizers. Now he has a good team, as now he has Celesteela, Infernape, Gastrodon, Reuniclus, Crocodile, Granbull, Mega Venusaur, Piloswine, and then the 3 new additions he got from me, which were Ditto, Kyurem, and Staraptor. So he has a good team. Definitely things I see him bringing. I definitely see him bringing that Infernape. I do think he will bring that. His Zmon users are going to be Infernape, Reuniclus, and Celesteela. So I do see him bringing that Infernape. I do see him possibly even bringing the Celesteela to try and wall out my Scizor should I bring it. Plus it also gets access to Earthquake, which would make it a good counter for both my Heatran as well. So both my Steel types do not like it. Gastrodon, I'm kind of iffy about. Reuniclus, I'm definitely see Reuniclus coming this week. Crocodile, as he only has 2 rock setters, one of them is Infernape, the other is Crocodile. I do see him bringing Crocodile to set up rocks, as you will see with the team, I am not bringing a spinner or a defogger this week, so a little bit of that. I don't see him bringing Staraptor, and I don't see him bringing the Ditto. I don't see why he would want to bring the Ditto, maybe to counter me, but I don't really have any kind of setup mon or anything like that he would want to counter. So I definitely don't see him bringing that. So with that, he's had some good battles, and he is 3-1 in his conference. He has only taken a loss to the Rhode Island Rotoms, who we battle next week, but they have Kyurem Black and Cresselia and some pretty evil mons on that team. But for right now, let's get into the team builder. As always, we are going to be accompanied by our Alpha, who is going to be cheering us on, our shiny Rockruff, as always. Sorry, give me a second. I have the team. Just let me bring it up real quick. There we go. Okay, so this team was built very, very differently. So with that, we're going to start off with the first member of the new squad, with the first member of the squad, which is going to be our Mega Scizor. With this Scizor, I'm bringing a jolly-natured Scizor, and this Scizor has, there it is. So the Scizor has 140 EVs in HP, 252 in attack, and then 116 speed with a jolly nature. This outspeeds, I believe, if I remember correctly, this should outspeed non-speed invested Crocodile. It will outspeed Granbull, and it will help me to, it could help me to outspeed some speed investment in Kyurem. But mainly it's there to ensure that I can outspeed, I think it was Celesteela, just to guarantee that I outspeed Celesteela and get out before that. So I think that's the main reason why I did it. But it is rocking U-turn, Bullet Punch, Knockoff, and Roost. Knockoff is for that, Knockoff is just to knock off, and also it is for that Reuniclus. So is U-turn. U-turn is to turn, Bullet Punch is because it's stab, and then Roost to get my HP back. With this, just kind of a small wall breaking set. It's not too overly powerful, but it could put in a lot of work and do a lot of damage to things. And so I'm really liking how that goes. Oh, okay. Sorry, I got distracted for a minute. So, with that, let's go on to the next one, and it is going to be our Tide HE. This is our Tide HE. This is our Spadef and HP invested Tide HE with a little bit of defensive investments, only like 20, just a very, very minimal amount, so it can live a hit. And this is going to be rocking Volt Switch, Hidden Power Grass, Thunder Wave, and Paint Split. This is basically to counter that Gastrodon and also to counter his Crocodile should he bring both, because if I bring Hydro Pump and he brings both, I won't be able to Hydro Pump freely because of Gastrodon coming in, and I don't want to give that thing a +1. Also on top of that, Thunder Wave does not hit any of those types, so I brought Hidden Power Grass as I felt Hidden Power Grass would hit both and be the most effective with that. So it has 236 in the HPs. Has to get it up to 155 HP. It has 252 into special defense with a full special defensive nature. Like I said, 20 in the defense, not too horribly much. It's mainly there just to turn, and it is there to catch that Gastrodon off guard. Next, we're bringing top. This is defensive Landorus with a Rocky Helmet. This is for things like Infernape, for Staraptor, for possible physical Celesteela. This is also for Granbull should he bring it. This is also for possibly physical Mega Venusaur. So it really just depends. Venusaur is kind of an iffy one, and I'm not going to be staying in the chance that it could be special. So with that, it's got 212 in the HPs as to get it to 191, 196 defensive with a defensive nature, with a impish nature, and then 100 in special defense as it, just in case it does have an HP Ice and it is faster than my and my Lando is not faster than that Mega Venusaur. I want to be able to survive a hit and get out. Earthquake could do good damage to it since it takes neutral damage from Earth. It does not take resistant damage from that. So, and then Rocky Helmet, like I said, is for things to basically to turn, or if he brings in Infernape, I can then get the Intimidate off, and then he takes more damage. If he goes for a Flare Blitz, he now takes recoil on top of that. So I basically am using this to wear down threats on the team, physical threats on the team. So next, with that, we're going to be bringing up our Wall Breaker and our special Wall Breaker. This is Choice Specs Meloetta, and this is going to be having Hyper Voice, Psychic, Energy Ball, and Thunderbolt. Now this does have Serene Grace, so I will have 20% on all of these minus Hyper Voice. Hyper Voice is just there because it's stab and it hits behind sub, just in case he brings sub Kyurem. It can happen, so I am planning for that. As for after one sub, I can, if he takes rocks damage and then subs, he is definitely within range. He needs to get to about 65% for me to OHKO him with, to guarantee the OHKO with Hyper Voice. So if he takes 2 entries to rocks damage, he will then be put in range of Hitsune Mika's Hyper Voice to guarantee the KO. Same thing with Psychic. Psychic and Hyper Voice do the same amount of damage. With this, it is a 180 in speed, as I know I'm not going to outspeed Kyurem, but I believe I did this to outspeed his, I think it was Mega Venusaur, just to ensure that I outspeed full speed invested Mega Venusaur. I don't ever see him bringing full speed invested Mega Venusaur, but you never know. I cannot outspeed Crocodile, I cannot outspeed Kyurem, nor Staraptor, or anything else. He does have a very slowish team after you get past Crocodile. Crocodile is like 92, and then I think the fastest thing he has after that is Mega Venusaur at 80, and then after that they kind of dip into the 40s and 30s. So I definitely wanted to make sure I outsped everything that was slow on his team, and I could have everything needed to hit this. Hyper Voice will 2-hit KO, especially defensive Gastrodon, and Psychic will do that too, and I will have a 20% chance of getting that drop on the Spadef. So with that, I have 76 in the HP, just to kind of give myself a little bit of HP buffs, to make myself just a little bit bulkier. I thought about maybe just kind of putting 252 into speed just to get my speed up to where I needed to be, but I wanted to have a little bit more bulk, so I had to run a Timid Nature for that. So next, we're bringing one of the new members of the team, and we're bringing Goodra, aka Goodra. It's Goodra. Now this is the fun set. This was a fun set I've been wanting to try and I've been dying to try. This is a Rest Talk set with Dragon Tail. So this is Rest Talk Curse Dragon Tail, and if he does, because I noticed he only has 1 immunity to Dragon, and that is going to be that Granbull. I don't see him bringing that Granbull because I have 2 very strong Steel types that can pretty much OHKO to 2-ko it in one shot. Plus I have a lot of special wall breakers that can just wear that thing down. So I don't see him bringing it this week, so I'm kind of banking on him not bringing it. But for this, this is a lot of HP and a lot of defensive investments. Thinking about it now, I probably should have invested more into special defense, but I also have to take into account that I might only get one curse off. So that's why I gave it a little bit more defense with the defense nature. This is an impish nature since this is a full attack variant. I gave it an impish nature. It has 236 in the HPs. It has 204 in defense with a impish nature and 68 in the special defense, as this will eat a little bit more since it's so high, since it has so much special defense. So this is pretty much it's pretty much here to kind of wall physical types on top of that to switch things out and have him take rocks damage. Like I said, he only has two actually he only has one defogger, and that is Staraptor. So if he does not bring Staraptor, then he has no way of getting rocks off my side of the field. I only have 2 rock setters, so I definitely need to make sure I get rocks on the board and up as quickly as possible. Rocks definitely play a big role in this, and so Goodra is definitely going to be a big member of that. I'm also rocking Sap Sipper, as if he does bring Leech Seed or Giga Drain variant Celesteela, he's just going to make me much more powerful. And especially if he's rocking Heavy Slam, after 1-2 curses, Heavy Slam does literally no damage to me, and he's just literally letting me set up for free. So, and then with that, the last mon we're bringing, another new member. This is going to be Tatsumaki, our Tornadus Eye. Now Tatsumaki, if you don't know, is Japanese for tornado. Instead, his name is Tornadus. His name is now Tatsumaki. So with this set is a hasty nature set. It is basically meant to outspeed Infernape. I outspeed Infernape by 1 point, so I spec corrupt the Infernape. The only way the Infernape outspeeds me is if he's Scarfed. So if he leads with Infernape and it's faster, I will now get huge information that it's Scarfed, which is always good to know. So 4 in HP, 72 in attack, 196 in special attack. So it's kind of a mixed thing, as U-turn is its only real attack, but I wanted to make sure that U-turn could hit decently hard, especially to things that are weak to it, like the Reuniclus. And so I want to make sure that this thing can get in and taunt the Reuniclus. This is another reason why I put taunt on it, because I wanted to make sure that taunt went off first, and he could not set up Calm Mind Reuniclus, as I have fallen victim to that before. So I definitely wanted to make sure that that was not going to be an issue this time around. So it is rocking U-turn, Hurricane, and Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse with a Life Orb. This will just absolutely obliterate Reuniclus. So I believe it 2-hit KOs Reuniclus, so he will not be able to stay in. So I'll be able to taunt and get a free Dark Pulse off. Even if he switches out, something is going to take damage, which is very good for me. Hurricane, because it's stab and it's Hurricane. It does damage to most things, minus his steel types. And then U-turn, just a turn, because U-turn does damage to his Crocodile, and if he brings in that Crocodile, I want to be able to do damage to it. So with that, that is the team. Again, we have Tatsumaki, Goodra, Hitsune Mika, Toph, Taideji, and Gurin, and that is our team. So now let us go into the video and let us see how we did with our battle. Alright guys, we're back, and as you guys can see on the board, I pretty much called a good chunk of his team here and what I prepped for. So as you can see, Tone did bring the Infernape, the Celesteela, the Crocodile, the Gastrodon, Kyurem, and the Mega Venusaur. Now Kyurem is a big scary threat to my team, as I do not have many things that resist it, and especially if it is Specs. And if it is Specs, then if he has Draco Meteor, he could easily chunk through my team, which is a very, very bad thing for me. So with that, let us go into this. So my thoughts going into the battle were this. Sorry, I am bringing up because Tone actually sent me his set list after this. So I do have these set lists for him, and I will go over that as the video goes. But as for what it was, my first thing was to get Tatsumaki in and lead off with that, so that way I can turn out and just kind of scout and see if anything. And since I saw he did bring the Infernape, I wanted to scout for that choice Scarf to see if he was Scarfed. So let's get into the video and let's see exactly how we did here. So we go, and here is Tone issuing his challenge to us. And so So like I said, my whole plan is to lead off with Tatsumaki. So as predicted, he does lead out with Wukong. Now here I had a choice. I could have turned, or if anything, but if he is not scarfed, then I'm just going to turn and do minimal damage. So I go for the Hurricane, as he does reveal that he is scarfed. So this is scarfed, and I am a negative defense nature, so I took a lot more damage than I should have taken, but I do get a free Hurricane off. So he goes into Kaguya, which is his Celesteela. So I'm like, okay, he's going into that Celesteela as I use Hurricane. And I noticed by this damage that this thing has some special defensive bulk in it. So I'm uncertain at this point whether it is Assault Vest or if it's just specially defensive. So at this point, I just decided I'm going to U-turn. I'm going to get into my counter to this, and my counter to this is going to be Toph. As if he goes for the Heavy Slam, then he will take damage via Rocky Helmet. Plus, it will do not too horribly much damage to me. So I get into Toph and I get my Intimidate off, which is exactly what I wanted. Plus this also sets me up to put my rocks up next turn, as he does go for the Heavy Slam. Now he hits, and he does learn here that he will not do much damage, but he will actually do more damage to himself by using the Heavy Slam. So Rocky Helmet definitely coming in clutch. So here I just thought I'm going to put my rocks up, as he is going to get his Crimson in, his Crocodile. Now at this point, when he brings this in and I see Intimidate, I am thinking it is a defensive version of Crocodile, so this is meant to pretty much set up rocks and all of this. On the next turn, I actually noticed that he is faster, so he does have some speed investments here. So I did have to notice that, because naturally I thought I would be faster, but actually I just realized that no, I would not be faster. He is 1 point faster than me, so he would naturally be faster than me. So I get that off, and I actually notice these Rocky Helmets, which then makes me think even further that he is not speed invested, that he has that this is a defensive version. So I go into Gurren here, since I went second, so I get the slow turn off, which is nice. So here I just decided I'm going to go for Scissorite, and I'm going to turn out, because a turn is guaranteed to KO this thing from this range. And then I keep, and basically I'll take Rocky Helmet damage, but I'll be able to keep my Mon. But the one thing I did not notice was that he is actually faster, so he is heavily speed invested. Later I come to find out he's actually 252 speed invested in this, so he was outspeeding me no matter what. But luckily enough, we do pick up the KO, and now the one thing he has that stops my Volt Switcher is gone. I'm sorry, one of the two things to stop my Volt Switcher is gone, but even if he does bring it in, and like I said, I'm rocking Hidden Back Grass. But the thing that does suck is that Scizor can no longer come back into the game, because he is only at 8 HP, so he has now become sack fodder for things later on. So here I just decided to go into Tide, kind of scout and see what I can do, though this does reveal my leftovers, which probably means he does know that I am a defensive set, as he goes into his Groot, which is his Venusaur. Now here, I kind of play and I want to see if he's faster or more speed invested, or any speed invested, as I decide I'm just going to go for a Thunder Wave, and I want to keep this thing closed down and make sure that it does not outspeed anything on my team, and I want to go for the Paralysis Hacks, actually revealing that I am faster. So he is not speed invested at all, or if he is, it's very, very minimal. So actually on this, he is actually 4 speed investment, so he's very minimal speed investment. As it goes for the Sludge Bomb there, but I eat it up due to just being full specially defensive. So on this next turn, I just decide I'm going to Volt Switch out. I'm going to keep my momentum going, and I decide now is a good time to go into Goodra, because if he goes for the Giga Drain, I will be able to get a +1, and so that's what I'm kind of banking on. And I'm also scouting for Leech Seeds as well, but he gets paralyzed here, so it works more in his favor. So here I just decide, you know what, let's take the chance, let's set up a curse, and let's see how we can get this going. I already have the rocks up, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. They're up to stay, so let's get the curse up and going, and let's see if this thing is any sort of physical. So I am able to get a curse up, and as it goes, I see Sludge Bomb, and I'm like, okay, either he's expecting me to be Sap Sipper, or that's just the best attack he has to hit me with, which is not all that great since I have such high special defense to begin with. So here I just decide I'm gonna go for another curse, as I want to see if he's gonna let me set up in his face, or if he's going to switch in this Kyurem. I was kind of iffy about on the next turn going for a Dragon Tail, but he goes for Sludge Bomb here, and I'm like, you know what, I think he's just gonna think that I'm going to set up and I don't have a way of recovering my HP, so he's probably just going to weaken me and put me within range of something. So I think I can set up a third or possibly even a 4th curse, so I go for a 3rd curse here. I also realize that I am losing speed and that I might be slower than this. So on the next turn, I decide if he does get a Sludge Bomb up, that on the next turn I am going to rest just in case I am slower than this thing, as now I am at a -3 speed. So luckily enough, I actually do guess right, and I am slower than him now. So he does get that off. So if I had gone for another curse, I would not have survived it. So I go for the rest. I reveal the rest. I reveal that I am possible sleep talk. Or that, and he already knows that I have leftovers, so now I get right back up to full HP, and he has no way of dealing with a +3 dragon tailing Goodra other than this sludge bomb. So on this turn, I just decide I'm gonna go for the sleep talk, and we get it off, and luckily enough, we actually get the dragon tail, but we miss. It would have been really nice, but it's actually a very good thing, because if we had dragon tailed in the Kyurem, I would have had a sleeping Goodra standing there, and that would not have been good for me. Next he does get paralyzed on this turn, which is very nice, and so I'm hoping for, you know, maybe another curse, maybe get myself up to +4, but unfortunately sleep talk actually rolls the rest. So 33% chance, you know, you're gonna get it either way, but I do get some more leftovers recovery, which is nice. So here I just said I'm going to Dragon Tail, I'm gonna get this thing out, and I'm not gonna take any more sludge bombs from this thing, as each sludge bomb does about 50 to 60 damage to me. So it will take quite a bit of time to get it out, but I do notice that I do a good 45% on that Dragon Tail, and plus I have now switched out, which is nice because now I bring in Kaguya, and I'm still uncertain of what set this is, so I am still going to be scouting for the Elite Seed, and I'm going to be scouting for the Giga Train as well. So if he decides he wants to go for it, he will just power me up even further. It's a possibility he could just go for Heavy Slam, but if he does, I have +3 defensive investments, plus all those defensive EVs, so he's going to do literally nothing. I think he does 20 damage to me there, and I Dragon Tail and I get it out, and even though it's resisted, it still does, you know, about 20%, which is not bad. So after Rock's damage coming back in, he will be able to do that. So here I'm able to drag out Wukong, which will do 12% on the Rock's damage, which is nice because I'm getting all this nice chip Rock damage off. So here I just decided I'm going to Dragon Tail again. Should he stay in, I don't expect him to, because he knows he can't do any damage to me. He knows that too, so he just turns out. I am uncertain what he's going to bring in at this point, but he ends up bringing Groot back in, and I know that if I hit this Dragon Tail, Groot will not survive it after Rock's damage. And luckily we do hit it, and Goodra picks up the first KO for us on this, not for this match, but the first KO for us this season on our team. So Dragon Tail Goodra is no joke. With that, he does send out Sub-Zero. Now here, I needed to scout because if he is Life Orb, I have a possibility of living this attack with all my special defensive investments, but if he is Specs, I will die. So here I roll the dice and I decide I'm going to check it out. I'm going to see, because I don't really have an answer for this, as this now reveals to me that he is Specs. And it actually is confirmed by the thing that he gives me. He is Specs, and he is 252 invested with a timid nature. But at the time I wasn't sure if he was timid or if he was modest. So my calcs pretty much matched what it would be if he was timid. He gets out here as I just decide I'm going to go for a Psychic. He doesn't really have anything that wants to do it, and plus if I get the special defense drop, it doesn't matter. He goes into Kaguya. I know I'm going to take it out because Kaguya does not takes a good still 20 some odd % from Choice Specs Psychic from Hitsune Mika. So Meloetta picks up another KO as he goes into Wukong. Now here I was kind of iffy. I was thinking about getting out, maybe going into Lando. You know, just in case he wants to get that, but I wanted to save Lando for later, and I know I can survive one. So as it is, I want to put him on the defense. I want to put him in a weird positioning as to have to sack something off, as I know I will survive the thing. As he goes into Lord Slug, which is his Gastrodon. His Gastrodon will not take 2 Psychics, especially if I get the special defense drop. So this does a good 50%. So I am going to 2-hit KO this. I don't see an item, so which makes me believe he's Rindoberry, and at the time, yes, it was confirmed later that he is Rindoberry, and he is full special defensive invested, but I still do huge chunks of damage to it. So here he brings in Wukong again. Now I cannot survive another one. Now I have to switch out, so I am expecting him to go for another turn. So I decide now is the time to go into Toph and to pretty much get get the chip damage off. But he actually surprises me, and I was a little bit surprised because I didn't think he would do this just yet. As I didn't think he would do this just yet, but he actually goes for Flare Blitz. Now this does suck because I cannot survive 2 of these even at -1 on that thing, but what he does do is he does take that Rocky Helmet damage, and he will take Flare Blitz recoil, which is good for me. So here I just said I'm going to go for the Earthquake. If if I by chance happen to survive, I'm basically just banking on him killing himself via Rocky Helmet and recoil damage. So he does he does take Rocky Helmet, but unfortunately he does not kill himself to recoil because I didn't have enough HP to survive that. Now if I was at full HP, he would have died to recoil right there. So I decided to go into Tide, as Tide will be able to eat one Flare Blitz and hit this thing killed off to recoil. He does not survive Rock Re-entry, so he's just going to sack this thing off by going for Flare Blitz, trying to get as much damage off as humanly possible. And this is another big threat gone. As I survive it very easily, and his recoil is down, so nobody picks up the KO on Infernape, unfortunately. But now I'm in a great positioning, because now the only thing he really has is that Kyurem, which I went for Thunder Wave just in case he decided to switch out and try to preserve it. I didn't think he would. So now he is down to just the Kyurem. Now here, depending if he is timid or modest, if he is timid, I have a great chance of surviving an Ice Beam. But here I'm kind of expecting if he might go for Draco, but then I just realized it was his last mon, but he does go for Ice Beam. Now I have a chance to survive this, but he gets a high roll, but I still survive on one. A high roll, and I actually hit the Thunder Wave. If I missed the Thunder Wave, this would have been a lot harder to pull off, because I would have had to basically chance a Tatsumaki Hurricane. But luckily enough, we survived. So those leftovers definitely coming in handy. Now I know I'm faster, so I decided I'm going to go for Pain Split, as if I want to get this thing as low as humanly possible. And actually with the Pain Split, we actually have enough HP to survive another Ice Beam. So very nice, as Tide is putting in the work, weakening this last mon, definitely putting him within range of Hitsune Mika, as now it is slower than Hitsune Mika and Tatsumaki. So here I just go for another Pain Split just in case. I didn't know how much HP I would get back, but unfortunately I did not get enough back to do anything, as this Ice Beam will take me out, as it does 42 damage minimum. So I will not survive this. But now by sacking that off, I get a free switch in to Hitsune Mika, and now I can go for the Hyper Voice and guarantee the KO, as Hyper Voice is a guaranteed KO from 65% and below. So here I just go for the Hyper Voice, and I'm going to knock out this Kyurem, as I know now that it is slower. And Meloetta picks up 3 KOs, Goodra picks up 1, and I forgot who picked up the other one. I believe it was, I forgot who picked up the other one. Scizor, and so Scizor picks up 1. So we end up picking up 5 out of this. Unfortunately, we did not get any. Nobody got the KO on that Infernape, but we do end up picking up a 3-0 win, which is very nice. Now his team, he actually had a decently good team, as his Kyurem was choice specs with Ice Beam, Draco Meteor, Earth Power, and Hidden Power Fire. So he was definitely worried about that Scizor, as Scizor cannot one-shot it. Unless it is like +2. If I had a Sword Stance, I would be able to do it. Actually, his Celesteela, I found out later, was Assault Vested, so that's why it ate it up. So it would have took more damage from that Hurricane, but unfortunately it is Assault Vested, so it didn't eat as much, and it was full defensively invested. Lord Slug, it was 244 in special defense, but it does not eat 2 psychics, not choice specs. The Crocodile was full attack, full speed, so it was not fully defensive. It was actually an offensive one with Intimidate, so it was a really good bluff set, so I was really happy with that. And then we found out in the beginning of the match that Infernus was Scarped, and then Mega Venusaur actually had Hidden Power, Fire, Sludge Bomb, Earthquake, and Synthesis, so it didn't have any sort of grass move. So I actually could have walled it with my Wukong. Not Wukong. Wukong was his mom. I could have actually walled it via Rotom Wash, but I didn't want to take that chance, as Rotom Wash was very happy, or it was very good for our team. So as it is, we do take a win, 3-0 win in 27 turns. So I was very happy about how this match went. This is, I actually took time, I prepped, I planned accordingly, I planned for his team. I knew he didn't have any stealth, defoggers or spinners, and I have just one, but I didn't bring it because I felt, you know what, if we're gonna get rocks up, we're gonna get rocks up. I don't want to waste time defogging the rocks off of his side of the board. And plus with Kyurem, it was really hard for me to find a way to bring in Delmise this week, so I unfortunately had to leave it out. But it is what it is, and we pick up a win, and I am happy about that. That brings us to 3-2 at -1. So we are making moves this week, and that is very good for us, as next week we battle Top from Top Does Pokemon, and his team is not bad. He is the one who has the Kyurem Black. So he is definitely a scary customer with that Kyurem Black. Let me bring up the Rhode Island Rotoms real quick, so it might be a little thing. And so yes, he does have a decently scary wall breaking core with Kyurem Black, Tornadus T, and then for Alligator, but his walls are very good too with Cresselia, possible Shaman, Aromatisse. He also has the Mimikyu, which is also kind of scary. So I definitely got to play around with. I got to play around this team, but his definite powerhouse is going to be that Kyurem Black and this Tornadus. So I definitely need to make sure that I handle those threats, including that for Alligator. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like, comment, subscribe. As always, I will see you next week when we battle Top Does Pokemon and his Rotoms. So have yourselves a great day, and I will see you next week.